Hello and welcome to Isuzu Utes A-League Download Episode 5. Episode 5 for me, because I care about this show. Episode 4 for Thomas Sorensen and Archie Thompson. Those boys last week, they were good. You know, there's pressure on the two of you today.
I just want to say, I thought the treatment of us from last week,
Yeah.
calling us divas,
Yeah.
couldn't care less.
Yeah.
And then I sit and watch the soccer tonight, and you come on.
Yeah.
And, halfway through your dinner, couldn't be bothered drinking. You're talking to the guys and see you couldn't even be in Sydney.
No.
And then I look in the background and I see your university champions jersey displayed.
Yeah.
And then to my right, up in the corner, I see you put up a nice little storyboard of because you couldn't care less who you're talking to. So you've got Tara Ruston there, you've got Roy O'Donovan there, just so you can remember their names. and you talk to us about being divas, and you couldn't turn up in Sydney. You're eating dinner while you're talking live to them on studio.
I was just having a cup of tea. I was giving a kind of, that kind of here we are, just natural, enjoying the day vibe.
I'm just saying,
'Cause I think that's
I
what
feel
people
this
want.
treatment we're getting, Archie, is pretty tough when he can't even look after himself.
This is worrying. This is like, musical differences within the Beatles, right? Isn't
But
it?
having a Champions jersey there,
Yeah.
and apparently there's a rumor that you spend most of the time on the bench. Well, you're displaying, you're taking all the credit for this. What's going on?
Archie,
Yes.
what have you got to say?
No, I'm on his side.
Really?
Actually, yeah, I was
Wow.
watching that episode back last week, and I have to be fair. I don't know where you got those two jokers from.
They were good,
You
weren't
are desperate if you're bringing those two boys on. I will say. But yeah, mate. I when you said that you were going to be on that Saturday show,
Yeah.
I actually thought you would have been in the studio because we're really trying to get that show up and running. And
And you're
yes,
saying I
and then I
wasn't
saw it.
committed
Yeah,
enough?
you're right, mate. It actually looked like it was in a storage room.
Yeah,
it
it was.
didn't even look like it was in an actual room.
He wasn't making an effort.
Nah,
I was
not at all.
like, who are
I
these
mean,
people
I
I'm talking to?
printed out pictures of those players. I put them on the wall. I had my dinner early. I feel my commitment to the A-League and to Channel 10 is being... And I did have a question, which is, I just wanted to check for the tape that, does it look like I've only had 3 hours sleep because my 2-year-old got up?
Don't try to come up with excuses.
Oh, really?
I've seen him on
This
the
is a job.
I've
right?
seen him on the project.
You just got to be prepared.
Have you seen him on the project?
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
suited and
Yeah,
booted
yeah,
and not the time for the football.
What's interesting is how elite you guys, the ruthless elite professionalism that gets you
Attention
to
to
the level.
detail.
Yeah,
That's what we are.
absolutely right. Like, do you think this show can continue? I mean, I'm worried about our relationship. I thought we'd built something good.
I think we can build a bridge
Yeah.
and move on. I think we can.
And the only way we'll build a bridge is by writing a song together. Archie Thompson on lead. And for the show finale, I'll be on the guitar. You must play the piano, Thomas.
No, sadly not. I'll give singing a go.
Okay,
I
great.
can be backup singer.
A cappella, barber's shop, trio. Or we can bring the Macedonians in, make it a fivesome in a non-sinister way. Here are the results from the weekend. Good weekend. No duffers in this one. Western Sydney beat Newcastle on Friday night 4-1. Good victory for Melbourne, victory over Brisbane Roar, who have no points, which is not a lot of points. Adelaide 2, West United 1. Pretty controversial, that game, but a good win for Adelaide. They've started well. Great win for Wellington Phoenix at Central Coast, who haven't started the season well at all. And then real drama in Sydney. One brilliant goal. Very late winner for Macarthur FC. And then Perth getting absolutely gubbed by Melbourne City 5-0. Let's start. That's just what happened. I don't know why you're laughing. I'm just
Pulling punches there.
These are the facts. I think they'll know if they lost 5-0. I'm not surprising anyone.
What were they? Gumped.
Gubbed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gumped.
Yeah. Because there's some interesting Australian phrases. Like when someone calls you a tragic, like a football tragic, we don't have that word in England. It sort of feels a bit. It's actually sort of a compliment, isn't it? If you love something so much. But really tragic is just really desperately sad. Anyway, let's start with that overhead kick from Ariath Peel. What a finish, Archie. You've done that before?
Never in my life. I've tried, and I think I've might have done something to my L4. Is it L4 or L5 or 6?
Oh, you got an L4, 5, 6.
Yeah,
you got plenty
one
of
of
them.
those was out of place when I tried that. But that was just unbelievable because the way that the ball was swung in, and it almost looked like you had no right to really get that on target. I did see a tweet of yours saying that you always sort of put up a bicycle to like a Trevor Sinclair.
Yeah, Trevor Sinclair scored for QPR against Barnsley in the FA Cup in the 90s.
Yes.
Outside the box. It's an unbelievable goal and I began the Sinclair spectrum. And now every time there's an overhead kick anywhere in the world, I just get inundated with how good is this compared. And I gave PL an 8.1
Yes.
out of 10. Because I think, we were talking about before we came on air, the interesting thing about it is that naturally is a left-footed overhead kick.
Yes.
When the ball's coming from that side. So to get any connection with your right foot, Thomas, is actually pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's pretty athletic, you know. And again, as a striker, it's you have to improvise, and he does that in that situation. He doesn't hit it cleanly, but my God, what a way to announce yourself. You know, having only played 80-something minutes in the A-League, and already now he's in everyone's minds, and like we're talking about it. So good on him. I think he showed some pace and some. He was a handful. Coming on for.
I think it was Holman.
Holman went out. Yeah. Jake Drew was out as well. So they had a few mishaps and a few players missing, and he stepped up.
Yeah, and I thought that Macarthur were really, if Sydney, because they press so high and they press with so much intensity, but if you get a team that's comfortable to play through those little presses and play those diagonal balls that Macarthur were doing, because in that first half, they created so many great chances. And I will say that Valère Germain is just an exceptional player. I think his ability to be able to bring balls down, bring other players in, and I think with him, to have someone like Peel, I think that complements him. He needs someone there to be able to help. So he's young. He could, I think, get the best, because Germain just seems to get the best out of the players around him. So you got someone young coming in. He just will make them better. And I thought Macarthur should have been 3 or 4-0 up at half time. And then, Sydney FC got a player sent off. Probably if you look back on it, and Hayden will look back on this and think, wow, I really didn't need to make that challenge out in the wide area, which gave him that first yellow so early on in a match. And then when he took that second yellow card, when the striker was just outside his age, you still got miles to go.
It's kind of instinctive, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like you just think that a player runs past, you just go, I think, I don't know, because I'm so clean I never get booked, but like mentally, are you running around thinking, I'm on a yellow, I'm on a yellow, I'm on a yellow? Obviously, you've got to be smarter in that situation.
Yeah.
Of course you have to, and that's experience, it's a learning curve. But I also think, sometimes when you are selected, the eyes are on you. And sometimes you can be a little bit too over-eager to prove yourself and show everyone that you deserve to be in the Socceroos squad. I think both situations, he rushed in a little bit, headless, and then the second one, he obviously makes 2 mistakes. He gets done because he charges in, and then you're in the opposition half. Like, just let him run. He's got players to cover, and he just panics a bit, and it's just unfortunate, but he'll learn from it.
Yeah. And then there's real drama after the overhead kick, right? Because Sydney think they've got a point,
Yes,
and then they haven't. They're so open in the 96th minute. I don't know if that's your sort of thinking, we've got one, we're with 10 men, we've got a bit of momentum, maybe we can win this and it'll be an amazing turnaround. But they're so open at the back for that Macarthur win.
And I think it's struck me straight away, because I think for the last 7 or 8 years of my career, the term rest defense came into to the game. And every manager was talking about, yes, we attack, but we always need to cover. We always need to have enough people back so we don't get done. And exactly that. Caceres runs inside, plays a ball in. They've got like 5, 6 or 7 in the front line. And then last minute, it just can't happen. I know afterwards they were saying, we wanted to win, we were chasing a win, but like you gotta, with 10 men, you gotta take that draw and then if you get a goal, whatever, it's a bonus. But the way you would be so disappointed out,
Yeah, I mean, it was a beautiful attack, though. Like, I mean, the ball from Luke Bratton in behind, and Germain still had to sort of pick out a ball. Maybe King could have done a little bit better with his foot there, but even Jaklish, I mean, he still had a lot of good chances during that game. He doesn't hit that really that sweetly, and it bounces over. And you got to feel for Sydney, because for that whole second half, a man down, they looked like the team that was going to actually go on and win it. And there was a young boy that actually came on, and I felt like he had such a big impact. Thiago Quintal is a young 18-year-old. We saw him, I think, make his debut in the Champions League, Asian Champions League. But he was just electric. Talk about some great young talent in this competition. But I think he was just exciting. Like you said, though, but when you're a man down, you get a point. Let's
Yeah,
just
so-
try and maybe get something out of the game. But that's just the way the mindset of Sydney FC is. They just want to win at all costs.
And Yakelis, 4 goals now in 4 games. And then can't even get in the Socceroos squad because he's eligible. Like we forget that, he's Croatian born, but, his dad is Aussie and he's got an Aussie passport. I think that's, hopefully, he'll get a chance. We see, definitely Popovic is eager to give a lot of young players or informed players a chance. So, maybe for the next one.
And I want to quickly say
Please.
about Kaczarski. I really love the way this guy plays. I don't know if I mentioned it. He actually reminds me of a Brett Holman. Brett Holman was always so instinctive, so quick, always looking for 1-2.
Say instinctive or extinctive? Because
Did I
that's
say
very
instinctive?
different.
Did I say
He's
instinctive?
extant like a dodo. Like he's no longer. This could be his last kick of a ball. There are no Brett Holmans anywhere anymore. They just don't. We do like documentaries about there are a few in the wild, but we need to set up a sanctuary or a reserve. So we can just sort of nurture the young Brett Holmans and then eventually release them back out into the wild. But
Instinctive.
Right, there we are.
But he's just got this instinctive way about him when he attacks. Just always looks to do the 1-2s, very quick. Very much like a Brett Holman, definitely. And I love the way that Brett Holman played.
Let's go to Central Coast. They lost 3-0 at home to Wellington Phoenix. Wellington's first win there since January 2021. Let's talk about that free kick from Hideki Ishige. It's so brilliant. This is the guy that missed that header, right, from about a yard against Auckland, wasn't it? Not that there's any reason to compare those two moments, but this was harder, and he scored it, and it's brilliant.
Fantastic free kick. I was even afterwards. I was like, because it's far out. He hits it with a side foot, but he hits it with pace. And I was trying to sort of, pair it Colin, to see, normally. But actually, the more I watched it, it's just a brilliant free kick, and it seems to be a Japanese thing. I mean, like Honda used to be an absolute specialist, and now he set up a couple of goals. He had an assist against Perth as well, so he seems like a super player. Those 2 Japanese players they've got in, and just for Central Coast, they're just lacking. They actually, I thought, played pretty well. Had a lot of crosses, a lot of balls in the box. But just not a final product. And, just Wellington just looked that much sharper with Barbarouses and just in transition as well. They caught them out. And, I think, great reaction from after losing that derby because I was actually in Wellington watching it and they weren't great. I don't think they lived up to the hype and everything else. So, good on them to go to a difficult place and get 3 points.
What was the best free kick you ever conceded?
I think a Cristiano Ronaldo free kick. Where I
he hasn't scored one for about 25 years.
No, but that was in his younger days when he actually practiced it. And at that time, I was in goal. The ball came flat, and it looked like it was going miles over the top.
Oh, so knuckleball time.
Knuckleball, and then it just dipped in the top corner. And I had no chance.
Did you dive for the cameras or just
I probably did. Just try to look like I tried. But, the players that actually practice it, and it's a great weapon. And it'll be a great weapon for them on corners, free kicks, and everything. He's a good player.
We talked about Central Coast losing their central midfield over the summer. And it's sort of showing, do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I know we keep talking about Max Ballard, and he's doing some amazing things overseas because he gets a call up for the Socceroos. I mean, that just shows you how big a miss he is in that middle. Nisbet too, he gets you goals. But 1 goal in 4, I mean, that's just not good enough. And I know that we go back to last year and it took, I think, 4 rounds before actually Central Coast got going. Their next game after the international break is a big F3 derby. So when you want to try to get something going, that's probably a big match you want to do. But just really that 9 role, I think they're just chopping and changing. It just doesn't seem to be working at the moment. But that midfield is something to be worked on. But I will say again, I feel like that listening to that interview after the game with Chiefy, the Wellington manager, he said he had a thought 2 days before that match, and he was like, oh, maybe if we do this, we might be able to get an upset here. And for him to sort of go, let's implement this 2 days before a game, and then the way they did it, because they worked a treat. I think they were trying to stop the ball out wide, try to pressure him inside, and then get the nick possession and then get on the counter. And they used that perfectly because Costa Barbarouses, I mean, what is he, 34, 35? He just looks like a fine wine. It just gets better with age. And he's scoring goals. Hopefully his knees are all right, because I know he picked up an injury. But I think that just shows what Chiefy has on this team, that whenever he wants to implement something very quickly, they're all on board. So.
Yeah, but you see that in the league in general. There's a lot of tactical ideas. There's a lot of young managers, who we're not afraid of chopping and changing, and actually, to good effect, as you said. They've shown them into Steele and McCallum. And again, they ran out of ideas. They only had shots from distance.
Yes.
So, as you said, the plan worked.
And I think actually we get guilty of this, whatever league we're covering. You get carried away after a few games.
Yeah.
And especially with these teams with a lot of young players.
Yes.
That what is happening now isn't happening in, 2 months, 3 months time. And obviously the best way to cover that would be to wait until all the games are played and then just do one show at the end of the season. But that sort of defeats the object of what we're trying to do. But definitely, you look at this and you go, well, Central Coast aren't doing anything. You said it last year. And some sides who started well, and it could all change, right?
Yeah. And then again, they need to find something up front. Peshao and obviously Edmondson, they haven't quite clicked up until this point. I think Bailey Bradman has been a fresh air when he's come on. But like one goal, as you said, 1 goal in 4 games, it's not enough, and they obviously still have to deal with the Champions League as well. So they have plenty of their plate.
Let's go to Perth, who are, they were beaten. If that's the word you want to use, by Melbourne City 5-0. I mean, look, with all of these games, when they're like this, it's one team good, one team bad, and trying to find out between, where is the emphasis here. But it just feels like Perth are not at it.
Look, I mean, they didn't concede after something like 30-odd minutes. So I guess that's a bonus for that game. But then to go like 2-0 down in the space of 5 minutes or 10 minutes, and the way they did it, I know that Ollie Sail, I don't know, I didn't get a picture of behind the ball, but Ugarkovic smacks the ball from the corner of the 18-yard box. I don't know, from your perspective.
That was a good hit.
It was a good hit, but then he got out and started like, whoa, why did you close it?
No, so actually, because again, you have to be careful as a goalkeeper with those kind of reactions, because it was very dramatic, right? And he was very direct, and he ran like, it's not a good look as well, because it's, 1-0, you're still in the game. But then looking through it, Faisal chases back. Yes. And it's his reaction. So if you actually slow it down and it gets cut back to Ugarkovic, he takes a few steps, not making a real effort, and then he actually pulls himself out of trying to block the shot. So, and I think that's in a situation where Perth are struggling, conceding goals. You can't. You have to put your body on the line. And all the goals you can go through, and it's like, there's 2 or 3 missed tackles. There's not enough effort to block the ball. And, at this moment in time, they might well be playing great, but you have to claw your way back into form. And by doing this, so I understand Sale's reaction, but it just doesn't look good when you're in a bit of a slump. But players need to be able to put their body on the line.
Yeah, he actually had not a bad first half.
He kept them in the game. Like you're saying, they didn't concede. He made 2 really, really good saves, and then sadly he makes a mistake for the third one.
If you run out screaming, the next time you run out is to just miss kick it to one of the opposition players. Doesn't look good, does it? And my favourite part of that goal was the centre back with the ball. It's almost like the ball, it's like a bullet. It's like it hits him and he just collapses and the ball goes in. With Lewis Kanga as well. It's just one of those goals where you're just like, and you could see the whole team just after half time. First 5, nothing silly, lads. And then this, and you could just see the shoulders just drop.
I mean, even the way that Pennington, I think, got sort of bullied off the ball for him to have that strike. It just summed it up. But that second goal, I was looking back on that game, and that second goal for me pretty much sums up.
5 opportunities.
Like in the 18-yard box. Yeah. I know you want to be wary about like putting a foot in and maybe like going back to a penalty, because everything that gets touched, you'll go to VAR, and 9 times out of 10 they give a penalty, but got to give something. I mean, it'd be so hard for a coach to be watching that happen.
Yeah, I think David Grealish must be frustrated. Yeah. He's also dealing with some of the experienced players. Obviously, Pennington was his first start. Caicedo, the Colombian striker, hasn't played. That was his first start as well. Brendan O'Neill was on the bench. So they're not fully fit, and he has to rely on a lot of young players. But you just want like the effort, and it just seems at the moment it's lacking, and they have to.
But who's that? I mean, the manager has to take some responsibility for that, right?
Of course, but it's also down to the players. Like you look at those, that's individual effort. Like as a manager can do all the prep during the week, he can do the hype talk or whatever he does before the game. But when you actually step out there, Archie, like it comes from you. Like you have to make it. You have to have the energy to close those things down, and at the moment, it's not going in a great direction.
Here's a question, Archie. Okay. Because we play the game at different levels. I'm happy to consider. At your level, right? Defending is so much more tiring than attacking. Right?
Yes.
And you say you've got to fight. Like tracking your man is, and obviously you're not doing a lot of defending, but you defend from the front, right? You're still doing that. How annoying was it to have to do, like mentally, to go, I've got to chase that guy? It's the same thing running just 10, 15 yards, but when it's, running to get a through ball, there's just instinct and you love it. Yeah. And going the other way is just utter misery, isn't it? It's like running uphill.
Yeah, that's why we go out and play attack straight away, because we don't like the defending part of it. And I will say for Perth, it's like, they did have to do a lot of defending. Melbourne City had a lot of the ball, moved them around so much, and I guess you're going to tire during a game. And it just makes it so much difficult, because once you do win the ball, and this is what Perth unfortunately did a lot of, when they did win the ball, they gave it straight back. Like there was no retention in possession. And then as a striker, you go back, and then you've got no energy to get forward and make another run. To receive a ball, and then back defending again. So it was hard. But on the flip side, for Melbourne City, I mean, some of those youngsters, it was pretty credible. I think the 5th goal was Dunbar 18, Ramani, I think. Ramani, 17, crosses the ball, and Mementi, 17-year-old. Like that's young talent time.
That cumulative age is younger than you.
Yeah. Well, yes. Actually,
not quite.
Okay, good. Thank God. But that just shows what maybe this Melbourne City academy setup are bringing these quality.
Yeah, and also let's be honest, it was a big blow for them this week. Like they're losing, Tilio for 6 weeks, and then obviously
Naboot
for the season. So. For these young players, Memeti, I think the story, he's a local Dandenong player. So where the training ground now is, Melbourne City is out in that eastern area, and he's come through, scored in the NPL, and 17 gets in, and I thought he was brilliant.
Just do the 1,000 steps every morning.
Of the Dandenong Rangers.
Get puffing Billy.
It's a good story.
Let's go to Adelaide, Western United. You say, look, 9 times out of 10, little thing in the box, the ref gives, VAR gives a penalty. Well, this was the 1 out of 10, wasn't it? I mean, it was a really good game, this. Could have gone either way. Adelaide have started the season really well, and look, we could start in lots of different places. But that penalty decision is hilarious, isn't it?
I don't know how they got it wrong. I was trying to be on the side of VAR and the referees when I was looking back, thinking, okay, maybe Kiddo didn't even touch the player that was coming through. But every single angle tells me that he did. And for the life of me, I don't know how that was not given as a penalty.
You got to feel for John Aloisi. Yeah. Again, it's a crucial point in the game. It's 1-1. They actually played well. Unlucky. He had to start 3 young players in the back line. Yeah. The own goal by Leonard. It could have been a bit unfortunate but they were in the game, and then to get on the end of this decision, I don't think anyone, even in the commentary, nobody saw anything different than a penalty. And then you think, this is what VAR is there for, and then for some reason. They don't give it. It's just, again...
Humans, right? We all make mistakes.
If you're not John Aloisi, we can sit here and we can, laugh about it, but like sometimes you just need a bit of luck, and it feels like Western United are playing okay, but just not getting that luck of the green at the moment.
We reached out to the FA. We do proper work on this show. At the time of recording, it's sort of Monday morning. They said they won't be making a comment at this stage. They have their Monday catch-up with the referees department later today. They should put that live on YouTube. Listen, that's all right. Humans, we make mistakes. Think about VAR. It's just humans making decisions. It's all happening very quickly.
Yes.
I don't know. I come full circle on VAR. I was like, I think it's a good idea. Then I was completely indifferent. I was like the only person that didn't love it or hate it. And now I just think, nah, it's not part of it. But I do like the referees on mic saying this is what's happened to the crowd. Yeah. That is things that other leagues could learn from. At least to know this is what's happened, because in the crowd a lot of games you're like, I don't know what's happened here.
I just wonder with referees if they've actually got a template that they need to, because sometimes when they're giving their what had happened in the actual VAR or their decision. Sometimes I feel like they don't know what they're going to say. I don't know if you've...
It's improv. They're just doing improv,
it's like improv.
Yeah.
It's like, do they have a template or is it all improv? I don't know.
But I would have liked it if they'd just said, if they'd gone, because obviously that it just went, it was a corner and actually West United almost scored. It was a brilliant save just after that. But if he then had gone to the camera and said, we've all watched it, he's absolutely crunched him from behind. I'm not really sure why we're not giving a penalty, but that's just life, guys. What are you going to do?
But I think,
I love that.
but maybe it just come out and said, yeah, we got that wrong.
It happens. It happens in every league, everywhere. Referees, they're just humans.
Can we just like Kane Vidmar, I think, getting that goal.
That's
obviously going back to Adelaide, where his family is, and his dad, I think, was in the stand, had injuries during pre-season, so hasn't played much, and then obviously getting the goals. And there's heaps of good stories with Mimidi, and so the A-Leagues are throwing up good stories.
And they've actually got a Vidmar stand there at Coopers too. Cool. So I mean.
Pressure. But obviously he's not playing for Adelaide, so it's a little bit easier.
And like you said, they did really well. I mean, Kane Vidmar and Leonard. I mean, they're two young boys.
They look so young, didn't they? I feel from that own goal, right?
Yes.
It's just like, again, we were talking about,
It's an instinctive kick, isn't it? That's what it is, Archie.
But we talk about Hayden Matthews, and as a young player, you sometimes your brain just fogs up. And it was a similar, because the ball was going miles wide. And you don't just be a bit aware, but you know what? He was he'll take it on the chin.
17-year-olds look so young. As every day goes by, he looks about 8. It's like, fair enough for even being out there. A word on Adelaide.
I felt like they weren't probably as good as what they've been over the last couple of weeks. I thought against Western Sydney, incredible. Started a little bit sloppy. I will say that Luka Jovanovic, there's a lot of responsibility in that position as your goal scorer. That's your goal scorer. I felt like there's a few times he could probably take a leaf out of Valère Germain's book, where you're a striker and you've got to get your head up and have a look around which maybe passes better than to actually put your head down and go, I know that you're a striker and you want goals, but then you've got to be able to scan and see who's in a better position. I felt like there was probably 2 or 3 times when he could have looked up and maybe slipped the ball into another attacker. But I got to admit, I love his hunger for goals. Just needs to maybe just work on that a little bit.
We saw Bart Vrens.
That was good for him.
Yeah.
That again, a lot of injuries, didn't play much in pre-season. They obviously heavily rely on some experience at the back, and it was. I thought he had a good sort of good game, and again, you can see the experience.
Yeah, he played loads. 8 years at Sparta Rotterdam. He got a fine for not wearing a helmet while riding his bike. As a Dutchman, sort of cycling in the Netherlands.
It's a free country. Like they've got free marijuana, free everything there. So what? They can be free without helmet. They can do what they want.
I mean, I can't be sure about this, right? But I think actually you don't have to wear a helmet.
We don't lie on this show.
Yeah.
Come on,
show exactly.
This one is
it free? I think you have to pay for it.
We don't.
Oh, maybe, but hey.
We don't have a.
It's freely available.
It is. We don't have. There's interesting debates about the medicinal use of cannabis. I don't think we go into that necessarily. And we don't give away like free cookies with this show. Just say no to drugs, I would say. But interestingly, I think actually in the UK you don't have to wear a bike helmet. And actually the statistics of injuries are actually pretty similar in countries where it's illegal to cycle without a helmet or not. But this this is the dichotomy, the sort of the confusion of Australia, which is this huge no worries culture. You know, it's very easygoing, but also a massive nanny state. You know, with all these rules. The Australians, you'd think they just need to lighten up a bit.
Yeah.
I'm not saying don't wear a helmet. I cycled in today. I wore a helmet because unlike Bart, I like to follow the rules. But chill out, Australians. It's a lovely
the
country.
first game I played, it was the second game against Melbourne Victory, because I always had like 45 minutes before the game. I'll come out and warm up, and then I was there 2 minutes early. We're jogging on the pitch, and this woman came running after me, and it's like, no, you can't enter the pitch before 45 minutes before. And I'm like, there's no one here in the stadium. Like, no, we have the rules. You know, so
you go up?
I
Do you
had
know
to
who I
jog.
am?
Like, she was nearly pushing me back off the pitch. So I went back off the pitch. I stood there for a minute, and it's like, now you can go on. And I was like, what is this? That was my first experience with a nanny state.
It's like Meet the Fockers, right? Where he's got his luggage and he's like wanting to go on, and then all of a sudden, like, no, wait, and then all of a sudden, you can go on.
Yeah.
But they lull you, Australians. That's another thing they do. You know,
There's a lot of.
the only way you learn is from neighbours and home and away.
Yeah.
And so you don't believe it ever rains in Australia because it never rains on neighbours or home and away.
Okay.
And it turns out that they lied to me. I spent 3 months in Sydney and it's absolutely like just bucketing down every day. Not just rain, it was like proper
we still love
rain.
it here, though. We're still here.
Yeah.
We still love it.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah,
what?
yes. Don't deport us. No, it's a lovely place. Lovely people. Thanks. Melbourne Victory 2, Brisbane Roar 0. Brisbane on no points, which is you want more at this stage of the season, I would suggest. But I want to talk about Piscopo as well. We talked about him on Monday on that brilliant show with those Macedonian guys. But he's brilliant in the setup for the opening goal, and he is sort of, to me, the most exciting player in the league, I would say, if I don't want to get too hyperbolic.
Yeah, he is incredible. Like we all know his capabilities. I think it's just been injuries that have caused him to not play much football. He's fit, and that relationship that he has with Casey Boss on that left-hand side, I think is so great because he doesn't actually have to stand out wide all the time. He can drift in to a 10 position, which I really like him to be playing, and I thought that maybe that's where Daniel Azani's a little bit better out in the wide, but if he can drift in and turn and that one-on-one, I mean, he's just
There's not
so
a lot of space
hard
to do that, right?
Yeah, it's hard to as a defender when you're so unpredictable to really want to put your foot in when someone's doing that. And the way that he got down that sideline with not much space and be able to pick out that run of, I think it was Valupale.
Yeah, Valupale,
Just.
But it was a
amazing.
similar one to the Virgos one in the derby.
Yes.
It's it reminds me like he's a Sola or those like small nifty players,
Yeah.
and they just got that. They can generate speed so quickly, and they're just past you before you know it. And he's been on tremendous form, and I think for Victory, they haven't been overly dominant. Even in this game, I thought Brisbane. I think they had, over like 65-70% possession, but Victory are just incredibly efficient, and they got players who are on form. They're very solid at the back, and Duncan has done well when he's been called upon. Guerrier, scoring as well. So I think they're just a well-oiled machine, and you feel they can get better. At the moment, they're getting the results, but I feel they've got maybe a gear or two they can add to it during the season. So. They'll be a tough nut to crack later on.
Yeah.
Bruno Fenaroli omitted from the matchday squad for the second time. What do you make of it? Where's he going to go?
Well, I mean, he's not going anywhere until January. And it's just one of those ones where I feel that he could still really contribute to this team. Again, Virgos maybe not so influential in this game. But then it's strange because I would still have Bruno on that bench. If you're wanting someone that maybe Virgos doesn't score or doesn't look like he's going to score, comes off, Bruno's that type of player that can change a game.
He's got the X factor.
He's got the X factor. I mean, he scores goals. When I look at that bench, I mean, there's quality all over. But really, as a experienced number 9, I don't understand. I know that. That's probably PK.
Hi, love. I'm just recording this the A-League show. My wife needs to tell me about her horrible breakfast.
Yes.
And then she'll go. Hang on. Can I put you on speaker? Is that okay? Hang on. You're with Archie and Thomas as well.
Hi, Archie and Thomas.
Hello.
Hi.
So, guys, I'm just going to jump right in because I'm so traumatized. Like,
Please.
$25.
Yeah.
I got the fritters and I was like, oh, they sound nice. Like, fine. It looked like no joke, like neon green pancakes.
Oh, dear.
Then the egg was like, I don't know what the egg had been near, but it had like a purple tinge.
Oh,
I don't think I can even eat again.
We'll see if we can fix it. Okay, better go.
What did you have for breakfast?
Love you, love. Gotta go. Bye. Just some peanut butter on toast. Bye.
Hey, that's,
Keep that in. Keep that. Where were we?
talk about like he can never come back against us. Like he's talking to his wife during the show. You're like,
Yes.
I thought it was good
you
content.
know,
This
he's
is
got
this
no.
diva that we're talking
He's got no comeback ever. Right?
I think I'd like to say I think
You
Archie
worn
was
out
into
your-
that. You were into the fritters. Thomas was like, "What's going on? Got places to be."
Nah, it was just too hot. Man. I was
It's just
sweating.
content. All right, well, look, let's go to Western Sydney Wanderers. They beat Newcastle Jets 4-1. First professional hat-trick for Nicholas Milanovic. Second goal is brilliant, isn't he? Isn't it? Tell us about him, the two of you.
No, again, a young player. Like again, I think this season he's seems to have taken a step forward. Like you can just see, the goals. He got a bit lucky with a free kick, but his effort, I thought his energy was good in the overall play. I think he was one of the the highlights of that game outside of the goals as well. So like for sure. There's always people say, obviously, Socceroos could be a potential. Maybe it's a bit too early, but again, if he continues this kind of form, and Western Sydney needed it. I think they've last week Adelaide was a disappointment, and so getting the win was huge. I thought.
Yeah, Alan Stajic actually said before this game that he wanted to see a better effort because we talk about. Last week against Adelaide, they were just second to the ball. They didn't have the intensity. This game, they started so strong and they really didn't let Newcastle breathe pretty much the whole game. And that's what I think your manager wanted, and they did it. And you can see when they do, they're incredible. They go forward really well. Like Milanovic, great young talent. Barello, his work ethic.
He didn't score, but
he's just intensity to close down players, and from your captain, your older, experienced players, always so good for your young players to see. I thought Sapsford was a handful all night. I don't understand maybe why Juan Mata didn't start. That's an interesting one for me because if he's not injured, I would think, why isn't he playing? But good win for Western Sydney. They needed it. Definitely.
I guess it's results, right? Isn't it? You've got to treat him just because he's a superstar. You've got to treat him like any other player.
Yeah, and I think
if
he
you can't
potentially needed the energy from the start. The young players.
Yeah.
And, getting that, and you can always put him on. But he'll have an his influence will grow, I think, as the season sort of progresses.
Socceroos Thursday night, Saudi Arabia, Amy Park, sold out,
Big one.
30,000. It's a huge game.
Massive.
Yes. This is probably the biggest game of our group. For sure.
Because that's the second place, you would imagine.
Yeah. And we're on equal points with Saudi Arabia. And Amy Park's always been kind to the Socceroos, so expecting a massive crowd. And
It's sold out, I think.
Yeah, sold out.
Yeah.
And interesting to see how some of these new and old Socceroos that have been called back. I think Deganek, Ryan Grant, Caceres getting his first call up for the Socceroos. I think we've been waiting for that because he's been excellent for Sydney FC and the A-League. It'd be great to actually, because I feel like that we need someone like a Caceres that can maybe be comfortable and really create something in that front third for the Socceroos. So it's a really exciting window for this international break. Hopefully we can win both of those games and put ourselves in a good position in that top two.
You always feel at the moment, looking at the quality of the Socceroos, it reminds me a bit of the home nations taking England out of it, right? You need to have a incredibly solid set of players, and it's a bit like when Australia are at their best, and then you need 2 or 3 superstars, right? And we've talked to all these young players, and what we need is to find some Galacticos within them.
Yeah.
You know, that is that's
Yeah.
the key for
Yeah.
you know, for countries that have that many, you know, elite footballers, right? You're looking for the stars, right?
Yeah.
And
And-
that's what we're missing at the moment. And you hope with the potential of some of these guys playing now that they get there.
Yeah, but you've also seen players step up. You know, like Luke Bratton did a job in Japan, and Velupile, you know, scored his first goal against China. You know, so I like the way that he's been brave enough, I think, Popovic, to, you know, give new players a chance and also inform players. You know, you can see Bratton is now out, you know, even though he played well in Japan. And so he's also looking at the individual games. And so far, you know, it's been good. But as you said, like these next two games, is Bahrain the second game,
Yeah.
you know, so, you know, they could potentially, you know, get 4 points or 6 points. You're halfway there. But if you don't, then it's backs against the wall. So, yeah, massive.
And Popovic is like, we know the way that Popovic manages teams. Like, he is so focused and so, like, he's not going to leave any sort of stone unturned when it comes to players and how they're performing overseas. So he's going to do his due diligence.
Yes.
Wow, that was
Yes.
it's
a big moment for Archie.
It is a very. Let's take a moment just to really
will.
soak that in
Because due as a word is only one syllable. We can all manage that. But to roll off diligence off like you did just
Yes.
then is you did your due diligence.
I might need to
before.
just take a moment
Let's
just
all
to
just
really
have a moment of silence.
rest.
You know, those are the great moments when you shock yourself.
Yeah.
They're the best moments.
I'm going to go home and probably tell a lot of people about it.
Absolutely.
And try to use those two words in whatever conversation I can.
I'm super proud of
but
you.
like that's Popovic. He'll do. I'm not going to say it again, but he's great.
Don't tempt fate.
Why ruin a good thing?
Don't draw attention to it, and then people will just think you do that all the time.
Yeah, I know. Damn.
Super impressed. That's wonderful. Right, so we got a week off next week because of the international break,
Yep.
and then it is the Unite round of fixtures, all in Sydney. So that should be fun, shouldn't it?
Yeah.
Thomas?
No, it's the second year. You know, maybe like last year, it was sort of thrown together pretty quickly. It seems like now, you know, all the promotion is out there. There's going to be heaps of activities. So I was like, whoever's is around, and hopefully there'll be people traveling from Melbourne, Brisbane, Adelaide, Perth, even you know, and Wellington and New Zealand. So you know, hopefully, you know, it can be just a party, a festival of football, and you know, I think the A-League, you know, needs that, and great opportunity to see all teams in one city.
Yeah.
And I'll be there
Yes.
doing something.
And to see Max Ruston
see
as well
me
in Sydney, you know, so that could be.
standing alone.
Are you going to
the
make
draw
that,
card.
Is he going to make that trip though, or is he going to
thing
be
is,
just?
I thought you would do it like via TV link or
Yeah,
something,
yeah.
just from your eating your dinner.
I have to do a radio show on a Saturday night back to the UK, so
Yeah.
I couldn't go to Sydney because I have to do a show from that shed. So I have a professional. You know, I'm never not working.
Yeah.
But why? Like, so the Cambridge shirt was tucked in the background. Why? Like you come out and say, you know, I'm such a big fan. But why do you have your Melbourne University
because
Champions
I-
shirts in front of it?
Well, because what I want to show is that I am totally ingrained in football in Australia.
Okay.
You see, and I think I proved that.
Yes.
You know, that's champions 2 years running. Football Victoria, Metro South East 7, then Northwest 6.
And you get a Champions jersey for that.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, I had to pay
fantastic.
$25. And you know the
buy
silly,
your jersey.
the silly thing was they said, "Do you want your name and number on the back?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, sure." And then I
Okay.
go, "I can't go jogging with my own name on the back of my shirt, can I? So I can't wear it. So now it just has to hang on that. But if somebody wants, I'll give it away. Highest bidder.
Yeah.
Be a competition later in the
because
season.
of my incredible, I'll tell you this.
signed
It's a way
shirt.
to end the show because obviously that would be my incredible fame. I once Darren Eadie, you probably played against
Yeah,
Darren
yeah.
Eadie, Norwich left winger. He had got this website called Celebrity where famous people, inverted commas, sell their stuff for charity, right?
Yeah.
So you know, you just say, oh, you can buy Jamie Carragher's trousers, and so you might spend a bit more on them because they're Jamie Carragher's trousers. I don't know. So I used to drive a Renault Clio, Y-Reg Clio, and it was worth £1,000. And I said, all right, I'll sell it for your charity, right? So if you put my name to this Clio, it's worth £1,000. When it went on the website and it sold for £600.
So your name devalued the car.
I can devalue anything by 40%.
Wow.
There you go.
You've never
get
been
your
invited
Ninja
back.
Get your Ninja Pass, 2 weeks remaining. Ninja A-League Women's Pass will get you into the first 4 rounds for free. We've had a couple of rounds, but you can still get free football. So what's not to like? Go and get that. We're off next week. I will close this. We're all done. We've done all our due diligence, and the show is over. Thomas, thank you. Archie, thank you.
Thanks, Max.
Always a pleasure.
We'll see you in a couple of weeks.